The corporation in the 21st century, a dock worker from The Wire, complains about the loss of American manufacturing in the country during an interview with HBO. The complaint spreads across millions of dissatisfied voters who inhabit the growing number of abandoned industrial regions throughout the Western world. Irons and coal residues, as well as automobile manufacturing, have shut down completely in Pennsylvania steel mills and Yorkshire coal mines and Turin car factories. People tend to place the responsibility of disappearing employment and deteriorating community identity on the practice of offshoring. Asian countries that took advantage of global labor division struggles with their own industrial districts that are deteriorating. The dematerialization of economic life together with globalization has resulted in significant economic problems throughout Pittsburgh, as well as Yorkshire and Turin. The major corporate leaders of the 21st century represent a different model than that of the industrial factory builders from the previous age. Amazon functions similarly to these companies since they do not need to own capital assets through their business strategy. Apple iPhones possess no intrinsic value due to their materials, while their worth stems from their imagined concept. John Kay describes how capitalism evolves through this fundamental business revolution. Our current economic understanding requires modernization because firms abandon traditional ownership structures in favor of flexible, assetless operational models. In this blink, we will see how companies evolved from running dark satanic mills to creating a hollow business structure. The Latin word corpus, body, led to the term corporation, defining a coordinated group working together. Collaboration has long shaped human progress, from tribes and guilds to universities and nation-states, enabling collective achievements beyond individual capabilities. A prime example is Wikipedia. Each contributor specializes in specific areas: butterflies, bridges, civil engineering, Turkish grammar, tort law, creating a knowledge network greater than any single expert. This principle maximizes efficiency, as collective labor reduces individual workload. Shared intelligence fuels innovation. A striking case of collective progress is running performance. For thousands of years, human running speed remained nearly unchanged. However, in the 20th century, records began to fall dramatically. The winner of the 1896 Olympic marathon, 25 miles, finished in 3 hours. By 2019, Eliud Kipchoge ran 26 miles in under 2 hours. Today, thousands of amateur marathoners in New York City outrun the 1896 Olympic gold medalist. What caused this rapid improvement? 3 key factors: knowledge advancements. Running techniques have evolved, optimizing training, form, and strategy. Economic growth. The commercialization of running expanded investments, training programs, and global participation. Once dominated by European hobbyists, running is now a professional sport, led by East and West African athletes. Kipchoge, for example, benefits from Kenyan training, American footwear, and Dutch technology. Competition and cooperation. Organizing major marathons and Olympic events requires collaboration between sponsors, scientists, and athletes, creating infrastructure that transforms collective intelligence into superior performance. This principle extends far beyond sports. As history shows, the greatest advancements arise not from individuals alone, but from people working together, refining knowledge, and pushing boundaries forward. Human advancement over the past 2 centuries is inseparable from capitalism. No discussion on capitalism is complete without Adam Smith, the Scottish economist who studied its early form in the 18th century and foresaw its revolutionary impact. One of Smith's most famous examples transports readers to a pin-making factory, illustrating the mechanism behind national wealth creation. Observers witness a structured production process. One worker stretches wire, another cuts it, a third sharpens it, and others assemble the final product. 3 employees add the pinhead, while another secures the finished goods with paper. Smith identifies division of labor as the key factor driving efficiency. Manufacturing breaks into specialized tasks, replacing the traditional artisan. who once crafted pins alone with 12 workers, each focusing on a single step. This specialization leads to exponential output growth as workers refine their skills, eliminate unnecessary movements, and reduce inefficiencies. Before this production shift, a factory had to hire expert artisans, requiring them to perform both skilled and simple tasks. However, by dividing labor, businesses now assign skilled workers to complex jobs, while untrained laborers handle simpler tasks. This method allows factories to acquire labor in the exact quality and quantity needed at each production stage. Smith's factory model operates much like biological life. Just as a human body relies on organs, limbs, and a central brain for coordination, so too does a corporation function through specialized departments, ensuring efficiency in economic activity. By removing redundancy and maximizing efficiency, Smith's model became the foundation of modern capitalism, shaping today's global economy.
I'm Sophia, a culture geek. PersiaGo sponsors this show. Dive into Iran's ancient traditions. Plan with PersiaGo's expert travel solutions. Book your trip now.
The term entrepreneur comes from the French verb entreprendre, meaning to take between. Originally, it referred to stage show directors who coordinated theatrical productions. Today, it broadly defines those who combine and organize resources to create innovative solutions. A prime example of entrepreneurial coordination is the smartphone, one of our generation's greatest inventions. Before Apple's 2007 iPhone, most of its features already existed: public phone booths for calls, cameras for photos, desktop computers for email, taxi services via phone calls, and TV for weather forecasts. The iPhone united all these capabilities into one compact device, transforming modern life. Apple's success stems from combining existing technologies in a way that increases their collective value beyond what they offer separately. This principle of coordination extends beyond smartphones. Consider the Airbus A350, one of the most complex, mass-produced products. Unlike traditional manufacturing, Airbus employs division of labor across Europe. Its engine is produced in England, wings in Wales, the vertical stabilizer in Germany, the fuselage in Spain, and final assembly occurs in Toulouse, France. Bringing an Airbus A350 to life is a monumental feat. In the 18th century, an apprentice could master pin making in 10 years. The Wright brothers spent 7 years perfecting flight, but understanding every aspect of an Airbus A350 would require 2 entire lifetimes. This advanced engineering marvel is only possible through the collaboration of 10,000 specialists across 6 nations. Just as a smartphone unifies technologies, Airbus unites global expertise into a single aircraft. Entrepreneurship, at its core, is about orchestrating existing elements to create something far greater than the sum of its parts. Our discussion of capitalism has yet to address ownership, a subject inseparable from Karl Marx. Marx defined capitalism as an economic system where the means of production, tools, looms, assembly lines, and factories are owned by capitalists. Workers, lacking ownership of these means, must sell their labor to capitalists to produce goods. Ownership equals power, since capitalists control both the tools of production and the conditions under which work occurs. Marx's ideas were shaped by Britain's Industrial Revolution, which perfectly embodied his definition. Consider the Cairn Company, which supplied cannons for Lord Nelson's fleet. 2 wealthy families, using rural capital, built the factory, hired rural workers, and controlled the entire operation. Their model, where capital ownership dictated production, was the industrial norm. The 20th century continued this ownership model, with corporations like Ford expanding vertically. Ford owned everything: factories, raw material sources, even 5,500 square miles of Brazilian land, Fordlandia, for rubber plantations. Every part of a Ford product came from Ford's own production system. But today's capitalism is fundamentally different. While Apple and Ford are both global giants, their ownership structures diverge. Ford owned its factories and supply chains, but Apple owns very little of its manufacturing process. While Apple products are designed in California, Foxconn, China assembles them, and Samsung supplies components. Apple's true value lies not in factories, but in ideas and innovation. This shift marks a key transformation in modern capitalism. Ownership and production are no longer synonymous. The 21st century business model moves power away from physical ownership and toward intellectual property, branding, and outsourced manufacturing. The aircraft you board may display an airline's logo, but the fuselage is likely owned by AerCap, an Irish-American aviation leasing firm. Even the engines are separate assets, owned by different companies that lease them to airlines. Airlines hire pilots, but their real workforce consists of accountants and lawyers drafting leasing contracts. This model extends beyond aviation. Amazon's warehouses and delivery trucks are leased rather than owned. Even Amazon Web Services operates from data centers owned by Equinix, which profits from leasing cloud infrastructure. These are examples of a growing trend. Hollow corporations, companies that own little physical capital yet generate massive profits. McDonald's franchises own their restaurants, while the company provides branding and operational know-how. IBM transitioned from hardware manufacturing to the world's largest consultancy firm. Google, Facebook, Marriott, and Tesla follow similar patterns. The nature of capital itself has changed. Marx envisioned capitalism as dependent on ownership of production assets. Yet modern corporations thrive without factories or raw materials. Services, branding, and intellectual capital now drive wealth. The power shift is evident. Business control, not asset ownership, creates individual wealth, as seen in the rise of Bezos and Musk. Modern corporations resemble Smith's pin factory more than mid-20th century Ford. Tesla's assembly lines aren't its core value. Its strength lies in coordinating software engineers, marketers, and consultants. Employees' intellectual capabilities are the true production force. This shift leads to production dematerialization. Quality overtakes quantity as the primary value driver. In Smith's era, 2 pounds of pins cost $11. Today, 2 pounds of Pfizer's vaccine cost $500,000. This extreme example illustrates a crucial truth. Modern products derive value from knowledge and innovation, not physical materials.